In the story of the Philippine Revolution, the death of Combursa is pointed to as one of the principal reasons why Filipinos decided to rebel against Spanish rule. But few know why they were executed and why their deaths were so important. That is what we're going to find out today. But first, we need to find out how the Philippines came under Spanish rule in the first place. In 1521, Ferdinand Magellan led an expedition to find the Spice Island by going west, and on their route, they encountered the Philippine archipelago. He would then be caught in a local dispute and was eventually killed. The remaining members of his expedition left the archipelago and eventually made their way back to Spain. After that, Spain sent several more expeditions to explore and eventually conquer the islands. It wasn't until 1565 that the majority of the islands were conquered by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and that it was established as a colony of Spain. It was henceforth named the Philippines after King Philip II of Spain. With the advice of the Spanish friars, Governor Izquierda emphasized the role of the native priests in the quote-unquote revolution, saying that they supported the rebels and were thus enemies of Spain. So among the people who were arrested were the native priests, Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora. They were well-known figures of the secularization movement which wanted to reduce the friars' power, so this made them prime targets for the Spanish. In the ensuing trials, the three priests were pointed to as the masterminds behind the Cavite Mutiny. There was very little evidence to support these claims, but they were found guilty anyway and soon convicted. Out of all of those who were arrested, 70 people were given death sentences. Some of the sentences were later reduced to life in prison or exiled to the more remote islands such as the Marianas or Guam. Two to be executed, however, for the three priests, Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora, as well as a soldier, Francisco Soldoa. He was the main witness that testified against the three priests and claimed that they were behind the mutiny. He was actually promised a pardon in exchange for his testimony, but he would be executed along with others. On February 17, 1872, the priests were both to Bagumbayan field. They were executed by gargots, a device that tightens an iron collar around the person's neck until they are killed. The three priests will then be remembered as the Gomborsa, owing to the first letters of their surnames. In the attempt of the colonial government to crush a so-called revolution, they made future revolution almost inevitable. The death of Combursa is seen by many as the start of Filipino nationalism. Immediately after, their trial and execution were seen by many Filipinos as a grave injustice, and soon the three priests were made martyrs killed by Spanish cruelty. But the unintended consequences of the crackdown did not end there. Many of those who were exiled to the Marianas and Guam would eventually escape to Europe. They would go on to start the propaganda movement. There, they will publish newspapers and pamphlets that advocate for reform back in the Philippines. One of the propaganda movement's future members, Dr. Jose Rizal, dedicated his second novel, El Filibusterismo, to the martyred priest. In referring to them, he wrote in the book, "I have the right to dedicate my work to you as victims of evil which I undertake to combat." Dr. Rizal will eventually meet the same fate as the three priests on December 30, 1896. He is executed by firing squad of Bagumbayan, the same place where Gomborsa were executed. His charges connection to the ongoing revolution. The revolution that the Spanish tried to stop all those years ago has finally arrived.